mission. Okay, I have 369 science. Now the probe mission's not going to need a lot, but I kind of want to come up this way because I was complaining about my lack of bigger engines. So yeah, like getting a skipper engine. The SRBs I don't really care about as much. I know I very rarely use the big SRBs. I want to get all these little tanks and stuff for my little probe. Little tanks, little spider engines, stuff like that. That would be good. Let's get that one. Oh, I only have 119 left, so I'm done with this tier. It was just, okay, that I didn't need. What's over here this way? Repair kits, cargo containers. Oh, we're starting to get into some of the surface deployable stuff, the hitchhiker. Have I gotten any other surface deployable stuff? I should really look at that. Oh, wait, I do. The goo monitor. So let's grab that. This is the control station for the... That's the Breaking Ground DLC that gives us that. Okay, let's grab that. That's pretty much done our science there. Oh, thank you, NC Davis. I just joined. What did I miss? Not much. We brought our Kerbals. Valentina and Bomb have just returned from the moon. They completed this contract to collect science from the moon and to explore the moon and get in orbit. That's about it. And we're going to go and do putting a satellite into a specific orbit of Kerbin. So first of all, I should take a look at. Here we go. I got to do this at some, maybe not today, but this is always dock 2 vessels in Kerbin in orbit, right? The Gemini missions. So I'll grab that one. Anything else here that's of interest? I'm not going to do any more of these survey ones. Oh, well, maybe just to put it in the no. If it was one of these above ones that's just a oneer, I might do it. It's more fairy tour. I don't want to do stuff that I've already done. Bring some moonstone back. Ooh, let's grab that. Might not do that today, but it's good to have these in the back. Gather, deploy mystery goo from the surface of the moon. Yeah. Oh, we're going to plant a flag on the moon. Oh. When we go get ready, scientific data from the surface of the moon. I think I'm kind of putting myself into a situation of forcing myself towards a moon mission, aren't I? Oh my god. Okay. And then here, position satellite in the geostationary orbit of Kerbin. Why don't we grab that as well? I don't know what we'll get to today. Because I do want to do the next one, which I had before I grabbed all these other ones. Position a satellite in a specific orbit of Kerbin. It's just a satellite, and this is the specific orbit. An apoapsis of 7,929 or 30 kilometers and 6,500 kilometers for the periapsis. Inclination very small, just under 5 degrees. Does have a specific longitude of the ascending node and argument of the periapsis, so we'll talk about that, though they tend to be pretty generous. Give you some pretty generous leeway. If you need to sort of see the orbit, you can come out here and see the orbit. Now, you got to be a little careful. Let's get rid of that contract window for a little bit, because I've got 2 now, so here's one of them. I think this is the one I'm interested in. So you can see it's a little bit the purple one. This one here is the geostationary orbit. And if you're never sure, you can look at the contracts and just look at... Oh, these ones don't tell you the provider. Oh. But specific, I can look at the parameters here. Yeah, the purple one's the one I'm interested in. This one's the geostationary one. We'll do that as well at some point. Maybe today. I don't know. What do we got? When is the new KSP2 video? I am currently working on just some tips for achieving an orbit in KSP2, a very short tutorial. When's that coming out? I'm working on it now. Hopefully, I should have it out by the end of the week. That's what should have it out by the end of the week. That's my plan. Maybe on the weekend. I don't know. Okay, let's get this contract. So, this was put a satellite into a specific orbit. Tuck this down here. I got to reach a designated orbit here. Again, these are the orbital parameters. Actually did a little bit of math, worked out a budget for this. And to get from low Kerbin orbit, an orbit of 80 kilometers, up to this orbit, will take about 1,220 meters per second. And I do have some, if you want to go to my math videos, playlists, I do have videos on how you can work this out for yourself. But that's the budget, 1,220 meters per second to insert myself from low Kerbin orbit into this one. But then I got a satellite that's just going to float around and do nothing. So what I think I might do is put some relay antennas on the thing and then shuffle it over towards the moon. And because the orbit's already pretty high, actually getting towards the moon isn't that expensive. It's only about another, to get it into view, about another 90 for the moon transfer, another 90 for the capture around the moon because it's already in an orbit very close to the moon's orbit, and then I'll tweak it into an orbit that's suitable for a relay. I figure then it won't be just useless. So that'll be that, and that's going to be about another 100. I think I'll budget myself about another maybe 200 more meters per second for what I like to call flapping, because there is a bit of an inclination difference and there might be some tweaking I need to do once I'm in orbit around the moon. I think 200 is pretty generous. So I'm looking all told to build something that's got a budget of around 1,600 meters per second. So let's get going. My only probe, well, I got the Stay Put Nick, but I'm not going to use that. We're going to use the Octo, and we're going to be putting on for communication. Again, I want to make it a relay, so I'm going to use the HG-5 high gain antenna. That's the only relay antenna, but that's okay because for the moon and Minmus, two of these actually do really well as relay antennas around the moon and Minmus. So really that's just about that. And how am I doing for fuel cans? I want to play around a little bit. I know I made a thumbnail of this, but that's before I unlock these other parts. Let's put you on top. I got some new spider engines. What's this do for me for Delta? Tuck you way over here. Delta V vacuum. 1809 meters per second, thrust to weight 0.96. That's not bad. I might just throw, let's see. If I put an Octo on the top of that, or Oscar B, I'm sorry, on the top of that. There, that's getting in the ballpark of what I'm thinking about. 12, that's actually, if anything, a little much. It can also handle the top part of the orbital insertion. Is it better instead of the spiders? Just to play around with. What if I went with the little spark engine? Which was, oh, that's got a lot of thrust. We don't need that much thrust. Okay, we're gonna go with four of these, and we'll play around. Maybe put this on the bottom. One thing, and I always miss this stuff. You know, you gotta always check these. Have a thermometer on the satellite. It's so easy. You get so fixated on making the orbit. It's really easy to just forget stupid stuff like that. So thermometer, put that on right now. Before I forget, because I will. Not that I'll be able to do any science, but that's okay. Move these down. I think I said 4 of these. I like that. I like that. So it's about 1,000 more than my budget, is it? No, I said 16. We'll see. 16. I said 16, and then I liked it to do the upper part of the insertion too. Let's keep playing. Might add a little bit more. What other fuel cans do I got? If I arrange these by mass, oh, I do have these little. Oh, I gotta like these little ones. If I just put one of those on there. Okay, it's gonna be off kilter for now, but that's okay. Okay. Let's. Oh my God, I cannot. That's what I was trying to do all this. Okay, that looks funny, but we'll fix. I was making some room for some solar panels. It's gonna need some. Only got the aux stats. I find these, if I go with 6-way symmetry, they seem to surround this really nicely. And then maybe grab this. This comes off. This comes down to here. Oh, this is looking worse and worse all the time. Why is this so hard for me there? But that doesn't look... Okay, I'll worry about that later. And then maybe one of these on the top. I'll have to play with getting that right in the center. And again, I'll do my best to read the chat. This is when I'm really bad at looking at the chat because I get so focused on what I'm doing here. Delta V I'm happy with. Thrust to weight's okay-ish. Okay-ish. So a few batteries. I'm really thinking I'm closing in. Like, I don't think... Do I have any of those... I wish I had some of those cubic octagonal struts. I do have a structural... Oh, that's a big structural tube. I don't have a small one. Okay. Let's see. If I put a few batteries on here, I'm sure that'll be... I don't think it needs it. I think it's kind of okay-ish. I just don't like the way the antennas... Don't like the way the antennas are working out. I really dislike it, in fact. This is why I wish I had those small parts, but I don't have them. I'm trying to find a way where they're just... Again, this is just an aesthetic choice. I mean, I could get the batteries away. Then it's extending way below. Oh, they're already... Oh my gosh, what did I do? Let's get new ones. What did I do? Oh my golly. Okay, maybe instead of one of these, maybe another Oscar B. Just... It's really this donut that's kind of messing me up. What if I just took you away, you go here, and then a little ball on the top? Where am I at now? Sorry, 22. Yeah, that'll work. Thrust to weight. Yeah. I think this might work better. So take this out. This goes back to the top. This is all about just finding a home for those antennas that just don't look funny. That just, and then maybe here-ish. Two. I don't think that looks as bad. Can I maybe rotate this? There we go. They're clearing there. And then if we extend this, aha! Aha! Single symmetry on the sphere. A little like that, a little like that. So sort of in the middle. Scroll this down. Maybe a little this way. I can really tell with the textures now that I'm halfway down whether it's in the middle or not. Make it kind of like a little hemisphere there on the top, though it really kind of isn't. Make it silver, yeah. There we go. And then a handful of batteries down here. That looks all right. That looks all right. Yeah, you can, this I think is looking okay. If I retract, oh, it clicks into the batteries. Maybe put these up here then. What's neat too is I do have a mod that adds, the ReStock mod adds extra variants of this, which is kind of cool. Let's go with that one. But when it retracts, it should be still out of the way. It is. Alright, so I ended up with a final delta V of just under 2,200 meters per second. I think that'll be fine. Thrust away to 0.86. That will be fine as well. I'm thinking this is kind of the whole thing. Let's just look over. Must have an antenna, can generate power. The probe must be fully assembled when launched. Got all that. The orbital parameters. Got the orbital parameters. Have a thermometer on board. Any other sneaky things? Nope. Maintain stability for 10 seconds. Okay. So that's meeting the contract requirements. And let's see. Get a decoupler. Oh, come on. I have... Oh. Name. The TD... Oh, I don't have the little tiny decoupler? Are you absolutely jokeifying me? Oh, I have the Chinese separator. Okay. I don't like the stock tech tree and how it puts all these little parts fairly high up on the tech tree. I'd rather have them lower down. At least I have the separator. It's going to leave some debris, but... And for those that don't know, a separator, the difference is, if I rotate it, is that it separates on both ends. So you end up with this ring floating around. I normally don't like to use them, but it's what it is, isn't it? Now, oh, that's going to get big fast. All I got to do is build a... Mind getting a little bit of clearance under here? No, that's a big structural tube. This is going to be too big. It's way too big. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in Oscar B's here. I would love to have some cubic octagonal struts. I might as well leave the fuel in that. But really that's just there to extend this down so I can now get a fairing and just build that over the hole. Like so. That's it. We'll put this on, jack up the force, put it on clamshell deploy. There we go. Okay. I think that should be good. Now, I need a total of about, we'll put in 3,600 for the getting to orbit business. Total of about 52. So, how does one of these look? One of these look? This is total guessing. And a Reliant engine look. Total delta 55. Oh, right, that's already too big. That's never a bad thing to be too big. 49, that's too small. Okay. Fine. Let's get one of these guys. 5235. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. Little rocket. I like little rockets. Put on some little tail fins down here at the bottom. You know, the one thing I'm fine with my little bit of playing with KSP2 to make some videos is the flying in KSP2 is so much easier. As far the aerodynamics model is just much improved, and I find that you don't have to really worry about things like tail fins and center of mass and center of drag and all that kind of stuff nearly to the same degree as you do with these rockets. Okay, 5210, I'm still good with that. I'm assuming, oh yeah, monstrous thrust away. Wow, this seems like really small. This is going to be ultimately Moon Relay #1. That's the ultimate goal. Did you lose the thermometer? I hope not. Don't tell me the thermometer's not there. It's underneath. It's hiding. Here. Put it here. So it doesn't look like it's hiding. There it is. But it's there. Okay. Okay, launch clamps. Boom. And I like to start the engine before the launch clamps. The other thing... Oh, wait, I don't have action groups, do I? Oh, for goodness sakes. Are you really going to be this way? Doesn't want me putting them... There we go. I was going to say I'd like to put the fairing into an action group, but I don't have... No. Well, I could. Let's put it in the gear action group. I don't have any landing gear. I like to put the fairings into an action group. So when I push gear, it'll deploy the fairing. And then what I like to do is take the fairing out of the staging. And then that way I don't have to worry about exactly where the fairing is in the staging. I can just stage when I feel like I need to stage. I think this will do it. I think this will do it. Let's tweak down the engine here. Get an appropriate... There's a lot of thrust here at the bottom. You know what I'm going to do? Just got so much thrust here on the bottom. Why not just There's no sense. No sense being stingy. Let's make it bigger. Alright. Okay, let's save this. And I'm really thinking this is ready for launchifying. Okay, let's launch it. Okay. Okay, so there we go. Everything's green except for the orbit. That's always a good sign. Okay, so what we're going to do is this orbit is a smidge inclined at 4.9 degrees. So why don't we actually do this proper like? Do I have, let's turn everything off. Again, I'm going for the purple orbit. Is if I launch, let's come center it on Kerbin. I mean, you could go into an equatorial orbit, come out here and make the inclination change. And to be quite frank, it probably will be fine in this case because the inclination change is so small. But why don't we just do this kind of the proper way anyway, which is to launch when you're at either the ascending or the descending node, when you're right underneath it. Why on earth are they moving? I don't know. It's kind of weird. So in this case, we'll be going... I am centered on Kerbin, right? Yeah. Just kind of curious why the orbit seems to move. It's like some sort of... I don't know. I'm not going to think about it. Sometimes when I'm in stream mode, I like miss the most obvious things. And again, if you want to just go into an equatorial orbit, that's perfectly... Oh, I just went right past. What a dope. On all of that, I lost where my satellite was. Did I just go past the other way? Let's just do it. Okay, we're darn close to the descending node. So I'm going to do the launch, and we're going to launch about 5 degrees towards the north. That's going to be the plan. Pretty darn close. Let's do it. Let's do it. Night launch. Night launch. Oh, I forgot to put... Oh, why do I know? Oh, I'm probably time warping. I am. There we go. Okay, I didn't put lights on it either, but we're off. We're off. And I got launched to the north, so north is the smaller number, so I'm going to pitch 5 degrees less than 90, so at about 85 degrees. But we'll let this get up to a speed here first. And why do I have... Feels like I have no control. I'm yawing over. Oh, I should... Okay. Okay, I didn't put any control on this. Revert flight. That was a test. That was a test, everybody. Yeah, I have no... There's no gimbling on that engine. The only reaction wheels are in the stupid little probe body up at the top. So, come on. Let's put in some... I got the advanced reaction wheels here. That will be much, much better. Okay. That was pretty dumb. Everybody forgets obvious things now and again. So now it's pitching over and it's like, oh, nothing's happening. I have no control. Okay, try this again. I could have gone with the swivel engine, the LVT30, right? 40, whatever. No, the 45 is the swivel one. Yeah, that's what's being mentioned. I could have gone with that, but I didn't. Okay, let's do this again. Now I can try this. So again, center it on Kerbin. Center the view on Kerbin. There we go. And come down, and you want to be right underneath where the ascending or descending node is, and there's way too many icons. That's part of what's... There we go. And I can see us coming up here. And I won't over time warp this time. Again, get those two. It's easy with these target orbits because you can just like line up the AN and the DN to get the line right. And this time I'm going to be going 5 degrees towards the south unless I time warp too far. Get that DN right in the middle. That looks good. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. So that on, throttle up, and go. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to wait for us to get about 50 meters per second and then try pitching over again. Ah, there we go. Isn't that sweet? And oh, I want to go to the south, so that's 5 degrees more than 90, so at about 95 degree heading. Somewhere in there. I can turn SAS off. It should track fine. It's a little bit... It should just naturally follow that prograde vector. This onto here. SAS off. Let's see where it falls. Now I pitched too far to the north that time. Pull it a little bit the other way. Seems pretty good. It's close. Well, keep fiddling just with the heading. But I'm getting to a point now where, yeah, I'm going to start reducing throttle once I get close around 45, 50 seconds to apoapsis. That looks pretty good. We'll just let it keep tracking this way. Less throttle. There we are. Well, thank you, Quantum White Rabbit. The kind words. I'll try to remember to look into volumetric clouds. I recall that coming up in the chat last time, too. I do like these kind of wispy clouds, though. Sometimes you can get the... I kind of like the way it is now because there's not so many clouds that the ground gets obscured. Sometimes you can get so many clouds that you know, you're trying to go to the KSC, you know, for a landing or something like that, and you can't do it because, oh, no, I don't want you back up there. Because, less throttle, come on. Okay, I gotta put SAS on. There's not enough, not enough atmosphere to keep this thing pointed the right way. Where's my altitude? That's okay. What's my inclination like? I'm going for 4.9. It's at 4.1. So I'm just sort of following that prograde right now. I need more thrust. Okay, I'm going to push gear. There we go. That worked. Nice. And I'm obviously watching my apoapsis is just about to crack 60 kilometers there. How's my inclination like? 4.9. Let's get right onto that orbital prograde vector there and hold that heading as best I can. It's really nice when you get the lock to prograde thing. Yeah, someone who's saying that fairing would have been real close to the actual staging, and that's the problem I get into. Sometimes I find it hard to guess where exactly that fairing should be in the staging diagram, so attaching it to an action group just sort of takes that concern away. Okay. So I'm just going to go into an 80 by 80, 70 kilometers on the apoapsis right now. Inclination is 4.8, so let's go a little bit more. Oh. Ran out on that lower stage. On to the next one. Should really pay attention to what's happening here. Alright, let's just get our... We're almost in space here. So let's just get this to 75. It's inclination. 5.9 or 5.0. That's the number I was trying to say. And 80 there. We are in space, so we're just going to need to circularize. Periapsis is almost out of the surface. I forgot to put lights on it. We can't extend the antennas. Oh, just one of them went. Fine. Be that way. Let's get the other one. What made you decide to ditch the fairing when you did? I typically do it around 50 kilometers. That's just my way of doing it. A lot of it depends on whether you are still under thrust. If you have cut throttle and are just coasting up, keep the fairing on until you're completely out of the atmosphere, because that extra weight helps reduce the effect of drag. and will get you through. But if you are under thrust, then you want to lose the weight. 50, where I just made up the number. Like, there's no no real reasoning behind that other than seemed like a good number. No lights, relaunch. No blinky lights. No blinky lights. What's wrong with me? Oh well. So I'm just gonna let's get a little. It's not gonna take much to finish off this circularization. We're almost at orbital velocity, and then we'll get our way out there. And hopefully I got this all planned out okay. And if I don't, then I'll apologize. Again, remember, this thing is going to do a bit of a journey. It's going to head out here. Let's start burning here a little bit. Oh, how I miss not having lock to prograde. I want lock to prograde. So this is just the circularization bit of this. Oh, there's our camera doobie-doob. And that is close enough to 80 by 80. Put it here. Like this thing is going to have a bit of a journey. It's going to go into this purple orbit, and then it's going to go and see if we can finagle it out towards the moon. Okay, this purple orbit's pretty close to being circular, so honestly it doesn't matter too much where I go for first, but if you want to do it the absolute most efficient way, especially if this were much more elliptical, you want to go for the apoapsis first. That's the way this generally works, and the reason is because it's the Oberth effect. You want to do as much of your burning as you can when you're close to the parent body, so getting to the highest altitude while you're way down here by Kerbin is more efficient than going the other way around. So, what are we shooting for that apoapsis? We are shooting for an apoapsis of 7,930. You can be, it's pretty generous. I gotta be honest here. Put this on maneuver and then it'll tell me 7,938. So I just need to come down a little bit. It's pretty generous with the leeway on this, so you don't have to be uber precise. But there's something in my personality that can't stop me from being uber precise, so I'm going to be uber precise. As far as this stuff about, let's start with argument to the periapsis. Don't worry about this 71.5 degrees business. What it just means is that your periapsis needs to be here, where it's indicating it. So as long as you match up your apoapsis in the right place, then your periapsis will be in the right place. So you don't have to worry about the number, but just realize that what this means is that your periapsis and hence your apoapsis have to be in specific locations. And the longitude of the ascending node defines the location of the ascending node. So that means your ascending node needs to be in this location. You don't have to, it's not just be in this inclination, it's have your ascending node here, and that'll automatically mean your descending node will be on the other side. But I've already taken care of that with launching at one of the nodes. So you can see that my actually is working out pretty well. Okay, this burn's coming up in 14 minutes. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm going to put this on to free view. And let's get this way. Bump. Oh, and definitely pay attention. I hear people talking about prograde, retrograde. To be honest, I didn't really pay attention to that, did I? Definitely pay attention to which way around this orbit's going. This is going in a prograde direction. Make sure you go in the same direction as it. You can tell by the, see how the descending node, it says that my relative inclination is 0? Wow, I'm super happy with that. But if it were 180 or close to 180, that means you're completely going the wrong way. That's bad. That's a very expensive mistake to fix. Okay, we're close. So let's go to here. Okay, get this onto the maneuver node. I'll watch this all from here. And what's nice is I can just watch my apoapsis here, and when my apoapsis gets close to this 7,930 kilometers, I know that, you know, I don't have to pay attention to the maneuver node as much as that, but I will start at the right time. 1 minute and 11 second burn. And 4 and 3 and 2 and 1 and go. This should be by far the biggest burn in this whole exercise. But it does say in here within reasonable deviation. Their deviation's pretty generous. I just tend to over precisify it. That's a word. It's not a word, but I'm going to make it a word. Which actually, I shouldn't spend my whole time dissing KSP2, because I think there's a lot of potential in there. But one of the big reasons, and I've gone into it to do tutorials and play around with it a little bit, but one of the big things that drives me absolutely crazy, and I'll demonstrate once this burn is done, that really makes it something I can't play the game because it would just so frustrate me just because of my personality. For other people, it wouldn't frustrate them as much because they are of healthier dispositions than me. Okay, let's see. What do we got here? 7,930. So I'm just going to go to 7,930 on the apoapsis. I'm just looking down at the bottom left there. No, I overdid it, but it doesn't matter. But in KSP2, it's a little goofy. It depends a lot on where you are and what your orbit's like, but these numbers can change once you're not under throttle. And that drives me nuts. So I'm setting up my encounter to go somewhere, or setting up my orbit for its insertion, and in the amount of time, like as soon as I stop, the number starts changing. It drives, that's the kind of thing that would just drive me batty. I cannot abide that. So anyway, now we just got to come up here, add a maneuver out this way, and just really all you need to do is match. If it looks like you're matching the target orbit, then you're going to definitely be close enough. You can play with the timing to get the, put it up to a higher time period here, to get the periapsi to match. That can be just done by adjusting the exact timing of the burn. A little bit more on here. And there we go. And this is guaranteed, like you can see from here, it's going to be in the right incline. As long as it's matching the purple orbit, then you don't have to worry about the numbers. You can just do it. Okay, so this burn's coming up in 4.5 hours. It's going to be a 25-second burn, and then let's see if we can shuffle this to the moon. So I'm going to F5 it and get out there. I continually see that. I'm sorry, Pedrog saying he hasn't seen. I know the spontaneous spinning has been fixed. It depends largely on your orbits. If you have orbits that are reasonably far away, especially around the moon and Mimas, I was finding if the orbits are above like 40 or 50 kilometers, no problems. As soon as you start getting close, like under 20 kilometers, suddenly that problem arises. It's the kind of thing that bugs me. I can't handle it. So there you go. And I had somebody on YouTube chat was suggesting, well, just, you know, don't do it. You know, just you know, just don't put yourself in such a low orbit. But it's like, I'm not going to work around their funky physics. Like, you guys fix it. That's just me. So somebody who plays differently, who doesn't like to be, you know, worry about the things I worry about, probably wouldn't even notice it. Okay, here we go. We got 14 seconds to the burn. And we'll just punch it right at that. 2 and 1 and go. And this time I'm just going to let this ride. Again, I'm not really going to look at the maneuver node. I'm just going to look at these orbital parameters. When this little chunk here goes green, I'm just going to cut the throttle. Because the game will consider it to be close enough. So just waiting here. It should happen any moment. Boom. There it is. See how this goes green? And now I just gotta wait for that 10 seconds. Because there's going to maintain stability for 10 seconds. Just to prove that I actually got here on purpose. And there we go. Contract's complete. So that's the contract piece of it. We don't need this anymore. So that is our specific orbit achieved. Now, arrange this like this for our solar panels. I still have 545 meters per second. I want to turn this into a moon relay. So the tricky part of all this is, especially considering that we're a little bit inclined, the tricky part is going to be to get that moon intercept. So let's set the moon as a target. It would be ideal, this is the first node that's coming up, the ascending node. It would be ideal if we can get the encounter at one of those nodes, and oh, I think I saw it. I saw something. It's what the? It's flaky. Oh, we're coming in way below? Try and figure this out. Let's, but it'd be ideal if I could get the encounter here right at one of the nodes. Let's play with the timing here. Let's go up to, yeah, this way. It's sorta yes and kinda no and kinda maybe, and there was something there. That would be a wonderful fluke if that actually worked out. I don't think it's going to, though. Let's try reducing this again a little bit. I think it was just a... Oh, wait, here. Whenever you get these two orbits that are pretty darn close together, jump up the time and really start... Nope, that's making it further. I don't think it's going to be happy. No, I don't think it's going to be happy with me. Okay. Let's pretend... Okay, let's see. What happens if I'm at the other node? Is it happier on this side? No, I can see they're pretty far apart. So let's pop ahead in orbit. There we go. I can make that work, I'm sure. The moon's a pretty big target. Gotta up this up. Come on. Okay. That one encounter that I was getting was just a little on the flaky side for me. A little too... Well, not that this one's not flaky either. Okay, where are we at? If I add on some more time here, that makes it worse. This way's better. Oh boy. I can probably make this work. We'll do a mid-course correction type of deal on our way there. I mean, if it sees something, it should be able to be workable. Any kind of tiny change, though. I'm going to go with this. Yeah. We'll make it work somehow. I might have to end up, like, if you look at this, we're encountering the moon. That's funny. Okay, let's do this. This burn's coming up in 6 days. We'll do some time warping. We'll get her done. Let's see. So F5. Let's look at Kerbin while we do our time warping. Are we on the... If you do this while you're on free view, it looks nicer. So this is just a 61 meter per second burn. So this is going to get us in the ballpark of the moon, and then we'll tweak our approach. I'm getting so many so many comments about the blinky lights, or the lack of them. So I apologize for my lack of blinky lights. I forgot. Okay. I'm just going to keep the thrust pretty low. Not much of a burn. What would have made it all easier would be to actually zero out the inclination of the orbit. Now that I'm thinking about it, I probably should have done that. Zero out the inclination of the orbit that I was in. And then I could have done the encounter wherever I wanted. It's sort of working. So we're getting our encounter way over here. What I want to do is focus my view on the moon. There's this is giving you an indication of just how cheap this capture is going to be when, you know, it's already almost in orbit. That's why the game is getting a little confused, because it's like going, do you have a capture? Do you not have a capture? Because our approach velocities are so similar. So what I want to do is, let's see. That's making zero difference. Why is that making zero difference? We're here. This burn is coming up in 5. Oh, wow. Oh, no, it is now. Okay, it was. For whatever reason, it didn't seem like it was made. Oh, I lost my encounter is what happened. Okay. Oh, this is going to be a... Okay. I think I should just get to the moon and be happy with whatever I get. Just make it work, because I think what I'm doing here, I could easily make this worse. I play with the timing. Does it make it? That makes it worse. This way makes it better. And of course, I'm saying that while I'm still finagling. I should just stop. Be happy with what you got. Did you hear me say stop? I said stop. Stop. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. We're going to do this tiny, teeny, teeny, weeny little correction, and then we're going to... Okay, here we go. So, again, we'll get to another day. Actually, we can watch it from here. So, here's us. Oh yeah, we're coming up towards the moon. It's just our approach velocity to the moon is so slow. I really should have zeroed out my inclination before doing that. That would have been the easier thing to do. Okay, let's put it on the maneuver node. Just a little bit of retrograde. Call it at that. We got our encounter coming up in 4 hours and 55 minutes. And I'm going to quick save because these are the kind of encounters that the game really hates. Like it can suddenly just disappear on you when you're just sort of coming in really slow. Oh, see what I mean? See what I mean? See what I mean? Suddenly it's gone. Where did my encounter go? Should be coming. Okay, let's time warp a little bit. And I'm still coming in here. Oh my gosh. Come on. You want to be in the moon. You want it. You want it. You want it. You want it. You can see, oh my gosh, it's just completely freaking out. But I'll put a maneuver right ahead of me. And just kind of aim it. Oh my gosh, it hates this. It hates this so much. There we go. There we go. Let's do it. Let's do this. I'm not making this simple, am I? I was literally just, let me get this burn out of the way, but all I literally did was notice I'm coming up below and to the right, or to the left of the moon, so I just made a maneuver and pulled to the right and pulled up. Okay, so we are coming in now. I think should be pretty happy, right? I think so. It seems to like this better now. You can see we pretty much have an encounter or a capture already. There we go. There we go. What on earth is... Oh, it's coming around and then encountering the moon again. Okay, to get rid of this, if you find this annoying, just go into settings here. You go down and find your patch count limit. Wherever that is. And you reduce your patch count limit and it won't calculate as much into the future anymore. Hit apply, hit resume, see, and then that further encounter is gone. Okay, all I'm going for is, this is going to be the barest of anything, is just the barest of encounters here. There we go. So there's our capture of 7.1, and then we'll finagle this into the orbit that we like. Let's go a little further. I was mostly looking at the time and how far into the future this is. A little further out. When's this? This is in a day. That's in 4. Okay, we can go a little further. There we go. Okay. So that's coming up in a day. Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah, whenever you have an encounter where the two trajectories are actually very close to each other, they're already very close to the same speeds, and they're just coming in on this slight angle. The game sometimes, I think it's just a floating decimal thing. Sometimes doesn't seem to be too impressed with what you're trying to do. So all I want to do is just ensure that this is indeed a capture. I should be a little careful because it does look like I'm very close to losing my communication link with Kerbin. That's what this relay is for. So the future probes don't have this problem. Or at least it'll help. See you later, Nor. Glad you can make it. I'm sorry I have to go. Alright, again, this is a itsy bitsy teensy weensy little burn. So I'm just gonna go to a really, like, almost let this get to 0 and then just go really lightly. I could also have done this just by looking at where my periapsis is. Why don't I do that? So look, I'm almost at periapsis and then just burn. Okay, let's do it. There we go. Can't even tell I'm burning. Can't even see exhausts or anything. Okay. So, what I want to do is orient this a bit for solar panels. There we go. Okay. I need to fix inclination. So I need my inclination to be 0. Now this is a bit of a pain in that it's really hard to tell where you are crossing Kerbin's equator, or the moon's equator. I am going to guess it's right around... I'm going to guess it's right around here. Because you want to make this inclination change where you cross the moon's equator. And we want to 0 out the inclination. And I'm going to do this the mod freeway, and then I'm going to show you how a mod will help. But what you can do is you can actually look here. This is your predicted inclination of 10.4 degrees after the maneuver. As long as you have the maneuver selected, it's telling you. And if you can get this down to 0, you're in the right spot. And I can't get it down to 0, so that tells me I'm in the wrong spot. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it maybe this way. And that's making it better. And now I'll see if I can make it smaller still. No, that's worse. That's making it better. Oh, and that's making it worse. So I think I need to come a little further this way. You can see how it's... Oh, actually now I can see it from the orbit, the white line. Well, that's making it worse. That's making it a little better. A little worse. And so this takes a bit of fiddling around, but if you can get this inclination down to 0, then you know you're in the right spot. But what is the absolute much better way is if you open up Kerbal. I can't open up Kerbal Engineer. I didn't put the Kerbal Engineer chip on here. Okay, so I'm going to have to do it the There's an easier way to do it with Kerbal Engineer. And unfortunately, I don't have the right part aboard this because I wasn't thinking that far ahead, because I never do. Okay, so we'll keep playing with this until we get... I want this to be 0. You can sort of see... Oh, here you can see it. If you can get the 2 parts of the moon's orbit... Oh, I'm nowhere near. It's got to be way back this way. Way over here. If you get the 2 moons... No, that's definitely wrong. Here. If you get the moon's orbit edge on, it's where that crosses your orbit. Okay. This should... Oh my gosh, now it's 0.3. Okay, I'm in the right spot now. That wasn't as hard as I thought it was. If I go up by minutes, can I make it? Oh, that makes it worse. I saw 0.0. And again, this is really me, but 0.0. There it is. Okay. So that burn's coming up in... So how much delta... Oh, I'm doing fine. So 78 meters. This is going to be the biggest burn of all of this nonsense. Okay, so... And different people are different with their relays. I'm seeing some talk of a polar orbit. I like equatorial orbits for my relays. It honestly really doesn't matter. But this is not going to... No matter what you do with just a single satellite, you're not going to get full coverage of the moon. You can only get... You know, the moon's going to be blocking something. So... will be more of these, but I mean, I already have this satellite put up to satisfy a contract. This will be a nice little relay. Even if it doesn't do 100% coverage, it's better than nothing. In fact, it's a lot better. What you'll find is even one will cover you like... You're already covered more than 50% of the time with none. And then this might bring it up to, I'm just pulling this out of my back end, but maybe like 75 or 80% of the time. And then you put in 2 and you're covered like 90, 95% of the time. And then you put in 3 and it's like 99.9% of the time. And then, you know, like each one just covers things just a little bit better. Okay, I got to pay attention to mine. So I'm going to look at my inclination while I'm doing this. Get the go to half throttle. And I want that inclination to really be 0.0. That would be just swellish. So 0.6, 0.5, 0.4321, 0.0 right there. That's what makes me happy. That's what makes me a happy. Okay, so now we are in an orbit with an inclination of 0. Let's put this in orbit view. I think I'm getting kind of goofy. There we go. So now what I want to do is I got some sort of... But I want to get this into a nice circular orbit. And I got a specific altitude in mind of 300, and I wrote it down, 377.35. And I actually have a ridiculous little math video where I call this the perfect moon orbit for a relay. I think it's pretty good. I do like it. I think it has a period of 6 hours, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But I am going for a very specific orbit. So I'm going to bring this down to 300. Actually, wait a minute. I'm coming over here first. Let's do it this way around. Silly. 300... and 77.35, and you can dig up that video if you want. It's me being pedantic, but it's me shooting for a very specific orbit is really what it is. Okay, so 377 higher. 0.35. And by the way, when I was talking about Kerbal Engineer and how it might help, which is a mod, it helps because it gives you further information about what's going on with your orbit, amongst other things. And one of the things it gives you is the actual time to your ascending or descending node. So you can actually just time warp to your ascending or descending node and then just do it. And that works really, really well. Unfortunately, in all the information, that is something that's missing. They give you useless stuff like the longitude of the ascending node. I don't know, like 136 degrees. Where's that? I don't know where that is. There's nothing in the game to tell me where that is. So that to me is dumb. Anyway, that burn's coming up in 3 hours and 14 minutes. I think it's a period of 6 hours. Gotta be a little... still got communication, good. Put her on here. This is just a retrograde. Thank you there, Chris Bennett. That's very, very generous of you. Yes, I do have a... This is not the easiest way to do relays. The easiest way is to put them all on a single vessel and shoot them out there. And there's a video that's that Cochrane's CD is pointing out that I think is the best. I have a few of them, but I think that's the one that explains it the best. It's the most recent one anyway. But this takes advantage of a satellite I already have. Now, what's a really common thing with these satellite contracts is you get a further contract to say, take the satellite and move it somewhere else. And some people really like those. So they put in extra fuel so they can move it somewhere else. It's a pretty easy contract if you have the fuel for it. I don't know. I'd rather just make use of it now and then ignore those in the future. Okay, here we go. Burning, half throttle. Again, I'm shooting for a very specific 377.35 on the periapsis. So I'm not looking at the maneuver node. That's close enough. Got 377.33. Fine with that. And what's it giving me through a period? Period here. Okay, it must be 3 hours because my period's already under 6 hours. I just forgot. I know the period is a multiple of 3. I like a multiple of 3. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm simply bringing down my apoapsis, and I could bring it down to the same, but what's really important actually is just the period. I want a period of a nice number to remember so that if I bring in another satellite, I can put it into the same orbit with the same period, and then those two satellites will stay, you know, relatively in the same position relative to each other. And whoops, I went too far. So if you can pick a period that you can remember, then like 3 hours, 0 minutes and 0 seconds, then that works out really well. And that's more important than getting the apoapsis and periapsis to be exactly the same thing. So that burn's coming up in 2 hours and 44 minutes. And then we got, now, oh yeah, I'll have communication there, so good. Nice. Nicey nice. Okay, and over here. And I know I have the thermometer on here, but I've collected all of the thermometer science, so there's no, it's just on here to be on here. Barely got a signal. Can barely see Kerbin. So again, not much of a burn. Still got 300, just over 300 meters per second left in the vehicle, so it was no problem having enough to get this all done. So for the price of that contract, I got myself a little relay. And what'll be really fun, and it'll be for a future one, is to send another one here and get it into the same orbit and get it into the same phase. Again, doing things the hard way, but sometimes the hard way can be fun too. Alright, so... and again, 3 seconds, go to half a throttle. And... cut. And I'm looking again just at the period. That's all I really care about. And if I, I'm 4 seconds away from 3 hours, so I can turn the thrust limiter down. Are all these going to have to be turned down independently? They sure are. Remember that one was on a 9, so this one, 9, this one, 9. Okay. There we go. 3 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. Now, of course, it isn't exactly 3 hours because I don't know what the decimals of a second are. And very slowly over time, if you have another one in here with a period of 3 hours, the two will drift relative to each other, but they won't drift too much. It'll take a long time, and if you're really concerned about it, somebody just pointed out to me, go into the persistent file, find this probe, whatever I called it, Moon Relay 1, find the period stat and change the period to be exactly 3 hours to like the hundredths of a, you know, I don't even know how far, to the millisecond. And then they'll never move again. So there we go. There's our relay. I'm kind of proud of it. I think it looks good. Okay, so that will help once we are back here again. It's even reasonably close to being circular, not that that's too important.